Today, I'm 19 years clean and sober. That means I've not had any drugs or alcohol for 19 years, one day at a time, which would be entirely impossible if I'd remained the person that I was. How has this happened? How can the person that is addicted to drugs and alcohol ever stop doing it? Whenever you have one of these birthdays, people are kind enough to offer congratulations and tell you well done, and I'm always grateful for that. But the reality is that I don't deserve any credit for this because it's all entirely due to the help of other people, other people's kindness, principles and ideas that come from other people, support and love from other people. The only thing that I've done is gotten out of the way. When I was drinking and using, I was a crazy person, like the people in your life that you know that are drinking and using. They are unreliable, they're either lachrymose or hectic, they're people that cause you problems, they're argumentative. I had all of those problems. I was a really chaotic little drug addict and little drunk. I was a weird little boy addicted to chocolate. I was a weird little teenager obsessed with porn, a furtive little creature. When I found drugs and alcohol, like, you know, most people that become drug addicts and alcoholics, for me, it fulfilled a deep spiritual purpose. It made me feel better about who I was. It made me feel like I was able to cope being in the world. It made me feel like I was full and complete and whole for a while. It provided a sort of distraction. One of the things I've been taught by the support groups that I attend along with other people with drug addiction issues or alcohol issues is that the problem of addiction is a spiritual one. In this time of crisis, when more and more people are becoming addicted to drugs, whether they're prescription drugs or illicit street drugs, we have to at some point address, do you think social and political conditions are creating more mental illness and addiction? Let me know in the comments below whether you think mental illness and addiction should be considered a social disease rather than an individual disease. By making it a disease of the individual, you can avoid social responsibility. You can avoid the conclusion that we live in cultures that stimulate fear and desire to such an extent that to not have a mental illness, that to not become an addict is a sort of an example of incredible fortitude. But as you know, I believe that most people are addicted to something. Most people have forms of attachment, things they're holding on to in their life that are harming them and hurting them that they nevertheless cannot stop. I'm lucky because I am what was called a bog standard drug addict, ordinary, garden variety, run of the mill, tenants super, strong lager drinking, crack smoking, smack booting, marijuana toking drug addict. Ordinary, nothing special. In my journey in recovery, I spend a lot of time with other alcoholics and other drug addicts. I've met loads of drug addicts that were much, much, much worse than me. People that weren't as bad as me. I'm just a normal another drug addict, just another alcoholic. And the sense of community that comes from being with other people that identify not on the basis of some pose, some posture of achievement and success, but on the basis of vulnerability, meeting people at the point of the wound. Man, that is magical to listen to other people because we meet in support groups and hear each other's stories and support one another. It inspires you to believe that you yourself can change. You hear people that have been through so much. There's been so much suffering in the world, so much suffering in the lives of people with addiction issues. And to see them and hear them turn their lives around is inspiring, incredible, shows you that change is possible. Because what a lot of people think that are drug addicts or alcoholics is, I can't change. There's no way out of this. Or some, even more than that, some people think they don't have a problem. Some people can't acknowledge that there's a problem there. I bet you know people, or maybe you used to be a person that didn't admit that your drinking or your drug use was a problem. Those people are in trouble because the first thing you have to do if you're a drug addict and alcoholic, and I strongly believe you cannot do this on your own, you have to do it collegiately, in conjunction with other people, with brothers and sisters, aunts and uncles, cousins, parental figures, mentors that walk along the path with you. What I learned is the first thing that you have to do, what I was shown, I didn't even learn. See, like the subtle difference between I was shown and I learned. I learned is like I did something active. I was shown, I was freely given something. I was shown that I had no control over my drink and drug use, that it was a problem, that I was powerless over it and I was going to destroy my own life if I didn't stop one day at a time. Like 2002, December the 13th, on December the 12th, 2002. I was in Camden at a place called Bartok, meeting a dealer. I won't say his name again, even though I've written about it, because now I've got a bit more respect for the privacy of the man. Met him, 2 of each was what I got, like 2 crack, 2 smack. And that was the last time I used. I went and hung around different friends' houses. The next day I got a train to a place called Stowe Market near Bury St Edmunds, where I got clean, met the person that was the first mentor I had in recovery, Chip, who explained to me that I was going to be staying in this place, that I was going to be learning these principles. I accepted that I had a problem, that drugs and alcohol were never going to work for me again. If you've got a problem with drugs and alcohol, if it's making your life worse, if it's making the lives of people around you worse, it's probably never going to work for you again, and you have to stop doing it. You won't be able to do it on your own. It's never going to work again. You're probably doing it to fulfill a spiritual void within yourself, some sense of lack of connection, discontentment, loneliness, purposelessness, a sense that you are not valuable, that you lack worth, that you're dirty, that you ain't good enough, that if people knew the real you, they wouldn't love you. These problems I've found to be consistent with many of the people with drug and alcohol problems, or even food or sex addiction problems I've met across my life. The second thing you have to do, having admitted you've got a problem, the second step is you have to believe it's possible to change. Thank God the people that have walked the path ahead of me have shown me that. Chip and Alfie and James and Jimmy, great people that went ahead of me. Mark, all sorts of magnificent men. Rod, incredible women. Jackie, all sorts of people that have shown me that it's possible to live differently. Davina, people that have been doing this for longer than I have, that were kind enough to pass on the principles they'd learned, the systems that they'd understood. I saw that people with worse habits than me, worse consequences than me, had been able to change, and it made me think it was possible for me to change as well. The third principle that you have to follow, and it's a tough one, is you have to recognize that you yourself cannot change yourself on your own without help. You have to make a decision to let help into your life, the help of a group, the help of a new belief system, the help, and I believe this quite strongly, the help of a God. Now, that's a little bit controversial. A lot of the people that have helped me do not believe in God at all. I believe in God. I believe in oneness. I believe in unity. I believe in love. But it doesn't really matter what I believe in, as long as I believe that the sole purpose of my existence isn't the fulfillment of my own ego. Because if I don't have these principles, I just become completely self-centered, concerned only with what I want. If I am willing to do things differently, life changes. It stands to reason, doesn't it, that your life is the consequence of your actions and decisions. Many of us, as I've indicated earlier, suffer from trauma. Many of us have suffered from abuse. All of us live in societies that stimulate fear and desire, that fill our heads with materialistic and sometimes nihilistic ideas that distract us from the truth of our spiritual nature. It's my belief, and the belief of the systems that I have been taught, that the reason that addiction thrives is because we are not offered the spiritual succor, satisfaction and connection that our species require. And the people that become drug addicts and alcoholics simply can't muddle through on a combination of ambition and mutual support. Many people, as Faru said, live lives of quiet desperation, taking their song with them to their grave. Well, if you're lucky enough to find recovery, if you're lucky enough to surrender, if you're lucky enough to believe that it's possible for you to change, if you follow suggestion, if you join some support groups, if you work a program, by which I mean the steps that I've just described, if you're willing to change your principles in life, it is possible for you to become an entirely different person. I was taught that we call it recovery because you recover the person you were intended to be. That, as we would understand, as James Hillman wrote, we know that in an acorn is the potentiality for an oak tree, that given the right conditions, that oak tree will appear miraculously from what is encoded in the information of that seed. We also know from our fingerprints and our DNA that each of us is unique. I believe that the program of recovery is a way of getting onto your intended path, living your intended journey. Many of us have been distracted, knocked off the path for cultural reasons, personal reasons, psychological reasons, social reasons, so many ways to fall off the path, so many ways to fall by the wayside. I believe that recovery is a gift. So if you are a drug addict or an alcoholic, or if you love a drug addict or alcoholic, I'm telling you, what I was told, what I was shown, that there is a solution, that individually it's impossible to change your own life, but collectively miracles can happen. And on this day that I've been granted 19 years clean because of the kindness and sacrifice and love and tenderness and service of other people, I would like to offer this message more broadly, that society itself can change when people collectively recognize there's a problem, believe it's possible to change, are willing to allow new ideas to enter the neurological space both individually and collectively, and dream new dreams together. It is possible to live differently if you're a drug addict. It is possible to live differently if you're suffering. It is possible to live differently if you live in a twisted and broken culture. All of these things might sound a little highfalutin and even fanciful and impossible, and individually that's exactly what they are. But collectively, human beings motivated by spirit, willing to change and sacrifice, can create wonderful things together. On the 13th of December 2021 still is, I'd like to say thank you to all of you, and I'd like to say to any of you that are suffering from addiction or know anyone that's suffering from addiction, there is a way out. It is possible. If someone as crazy and hopeless and lost as I was can become a father and a husband and a member of various communities committed to service and change, then there is hope for all of us. Thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video. I believe in recovery. I believe in you. I believe in our future. Please let me know in the comments what you think. Give this video a thumbs up, share it around, particularly if you know anybody that needs help in their own recovery or their own mental health journey. Please consider subscribing to my channel, either the main one where I tend to talk about cultural matters, politics and current affairs, or the side channel where I talk about spirituality and the things that really matter, how we can change ourselves, change consciousness and change reality as a whole. Please subscribe to my mailing list so I can stay in regular contact with you all of the time. And if you want to come and see me live, I'm appearing live from January to May all over the UK, places like Hammersmith Apollo, Manchester, Liverpool, Scarborough, Bradford, Ipswich, Margate, Aylesbury, all these places. There's a link in the description if you want to come and be on this path with me. It's a complex, day by day, moment by moment journey, but together we can do it. Thank you very much, everyone. Stay free.